Nestled in the rolling hills of the Piedmont, there's a legendary track that was created by car enthusiasts from North Carolina. This track has played host to some of the greatest names in motorsports, like Carroll Shelby, Carl Haas, Bruce Jennings, Richard Petty, and McDreamy himself, Patrick Dempsey. Paul Newman said this track is heaven on earth. This track is fast, narrow, and challenging. This track is located just outside of Dansville, Virginia, along the Dan River. I'm Daniel Arena, and this is Track History on Virginia International Raceway.
This is a motor racing resort, a hotel with tea and coffee making facilities in the rooms and in the garden, the Virginia International Raceway.
Between two of the Porsches, it looks like that's the number 48 Porsche car. Oh, the huge crash.
Starts to go over, then comes back around a complete 360.
Hey there, I'm Daniel Arena, and welcome to my channel. I take a deep dive into motorsports history, also explore iconic tracks and memorable moments. I'm also a professional video editor. I have worked on commercials, TV shows, and motorsports content. In this episode of Track History, we are heading to Virginia International Raceway.
Have you ever met Miss Lindy? She's a gal with the bright red hair. Now she stands high from all the rest. You know her anywhere. Where she's mine. Yeah,
In the mid-1950s, a group of car enthusiasts from North Carolina were looking a plot of land to build a perfect racetrack to thrill spectators and challenge drivers. Their quest led them to the Virginia state line, where they found a site on land that's owned by the Foote family, just outside of Dansville, Virginia. This beautiful location, nestled along the Dan River, will soon become the home of Virginia International Raceway. VIR officially opened its gates in August of 1957 under the management of Sports Car Enterprises. The group was formed by the track's founders. The first event held at VIR was an SCCA race that drew some of the biggest names in motorsports, including Carroll Shelby, Carl Haas, Bob Hobart, and Bruce Jennings. It was during the inaugural event that Carroll Shelby, who would later achieve worldwide fame after his success at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and the creation of the iconic Cobra sports cars. Shelby claimed victory in the feature race, driving a Maserati 450S. Shelby famously remarked that 1 lap at VIR is like 100 laps at Watkins Glen. This shows a testament to the track's challenging and technical nature. Paul Newman saw VIR in a different view. He said, if there's a heaven on earth, it's VIR. But despite the early success and popularity among drivers, the track faced challenges that would eventually lead to its closure in 1974. The economic difficulties of the 1970s, raising operational costs, and decline in attendance all play a role in VIR's temporary demise. VIR is located in the Piedmont region. This region is known for a lot of oval tracks, which cater to stock car racing and NASCAR. In this area, you'll find legendary circuits like Martinsville Speedway, Richmond, South Boston, North Wilkesboro, Charlotte, Rockingham, and Bowman Gray. VIR was one of the few road courses in the Southeast. Because of the popularity of NASCAR in the region, that was another factor why VIR closed in 1974. VIR saw almost 2 decades of no racing, and it also became farmland at one point. Two visionaries, Harvey Siegel and Connie Nyholm, purchased the decaying VIR, determined to restore its former glory. But they didn't just want to bring back a racetrack, they envisioned something far more ambitious. They aimed to create a motorsports resort, a place where racing and luxury could exist.
There are golf resorts and skiing resorts, but this is a motor racing resort. A hotel with tea and coffee making facilities in the rooms and in the garden, the Virginia International Raceway.
The restoration was no small task. The original track was repaved and widened, staying true to the historic layout while meeting modern safety standards. They added new courses like the North and South course to increase the track's versatility. But the transformation didn't stop there. VIR became just more than a place to race. They upgraded the paddock, spectator areas, and support buildings, while adding amenities like lodging, dining, a skid pad, go-kart track, an off-road rally track, even recreational facilities.
One of the most innovative features is the Patriot Course, a 1.1-mile circuit within the main track. This gives flexibility to the track owners, and they can host 2 events at the same time. You can have a main GT race going on in the full circuit, and then you can have a small race or a go-karting race going on in the Patriot circuit. They also can hold marketing events, like taking hot laps with a professional driver, maybe in a Mustang. Definitely a safer environment than being in a Cars and Coffee event.
Oh, did you record that?
I'm gonna get a lot of Mustang owners from that. In the year 2000, VIR officially reopened, and the response was incredible.
The Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series swings back in action at Virginia International Raceway. It's Memo Rojas on the pole position ahead of Mark Wilkins. John Fogerty takes second in early race side-by-side action with the AIM Autosports Ford Riley. Meanwhile, Jonathan Bomarito works his way into the GT lead. Jordan Taylor not about to let up and regains the lead.
Big class action fan out behind him.
Oh, this is
big roll.
That is a wild ride. Is that the Mini?
A slide sideways. The car hops a little bit, starts to go over, then comes back around a complete 360.
This car here up the hill, and is there a touch and a push there? Arthur's going to get into the dirt and head straight for the Armco and up and over.
VIR is a 3.27-mile, 17-turn circuit. The track has a mix of high-speed straights and very challenging corners. Now, what set VIR apart, it's the corner names and the history behind them.
Let's start with the horseshoe, the first corner after the start and finish line. This wide, sweeping right hand sets the tone for the lap. Now, the drivers had to be precise at this corner, setting up for a strong exit into the NASCAR bend. Now, why the name NASCAR Bend? Well, in the 1966 Trans Am race, NASCAR legends like Richard Petty, David Pearson, and Wendell Scott incurred difficulties navigating this tricky corner. After NASCAR Bend, the drivers would try to keep the car on the track at the Snake. The drivers would go flat out up the hill where they approach Oak Tree. The Oak Tree corner is turns 11 and 12, named after the iconic oak tree that once stood at the apex. This tight, double apex right-hander is one of the most famous corners in American motorsports.
Although the tree fell down in 2013, it's still one of the most trickiest corners of the track. Track officials actually planted a new oak tree on the outside of the corner.
The roller coaster section is a rapid downhill section that lives up to its name, taking drivers on a thrilling ride as they navigate this steep descent, a true test for both car control and bravery.
A pass. You have to have help here. Hey, never mind Martinsville. Let's get some Talladega running for these cars, because the drafting is so important. important here, shit.
So roller coaster at VIR looks completely different in person than what you see on TV. Some cool viewing spots over there is the top of the hill, or at the hog pen section when you look up the hill watching the cars barely hanging on or keeping it on the track.
And happy Sunday. Beautiful weather, great surroundings, and ready to get going for a 2-hour and 40-minute contest for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship.
One of VIR's premier events is the Michelin GT Challenge, part of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. This race brings together top-tier sports car teams and drivers from around the globe, featuring high-performance GT3 cars.
2 hours and 40 minutes on the clock, a mixed grid of 19 GTDs. It's Babenda waving the green flag for the Michelin GT Challenge at VIR. They charge down towards the horseshoe for the first time. Jack Hawksworth gets a good run in that bright yellow number 14. That's a Sullivan Lexus.
The weekend is packed with support races, including the Michelin Pilot Challenge, the VP Racing Sports Car Challenge, and the MX5 Cup.
I think the MX5 Cup is the best racing right now in the world, better than Formula One. Yes, Formula One is the pinnacle of motorsports, but MX5 Cup is the best action motorsports right now in the world. The reason is because they have close finishes, epic battles, and some crazy crashes. In 2023, I was at VIR for the IMSA weekend, and one of the feature races was the MX5 Cup. Both races were just insane. Seeing them bump drag through the snake section of the track, up the hill into Oak Tree. These cars are very loud, they're straight pipe, and the action was just insane. It's incredible seeing these cars battling out, barely hanging onto the track, and then eventually they all crash each other at the final lap.
On the end of the pit lane, John Sott gets a big hit there, and it's like snooker, bar billiards. Through goes Michael Carter to the lead.
The future of Virginia International Raceway looks very promising. Honestly, they have a solid slate of events, and I wouldn't change a thing. Now, there's other areas that VIR could add. Maybe for the IMSA race weekend, they can bring back the prototypes. Now, there's a space restriction at VIR's North Paddock, but if they make the race longer, or have two separate races, I can see them hosting both the prototypes and the GT3 classes for a weekend. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. I also don't see NASCAR having a full race weekend at VIR. NASCAR teams do test at VIR when they have a new driver behind the wheel. VIR was also a test track for the Garage 56 NASCAR that raced at Le Mans. Check out Jordan Taylor's epic lap time with car and driver. It's worth a watch. Now you're thinking, what other premier racing series could have a race at VIR? What pops in my mind first is IndyCar. There has been talks of IndyCar racing at VIR since its reopening in 2000. So there's been a lot of rumors about this over the years, but they have fizzled out. One of the biggest reasons why IndyCar does not race at VIR is because of the track's layout. It's high speed and technical corners. Now with the IndyCars, they can easily handle these corners and straightaways, but it's the safety part that really comes into play. Some parts of the tracks, the walls are really close. And also, the track's not that wide. Most likely, what's really holding them back is the infrastructure of the track. For those who've never been to VIR, it's in the middle of nowhere on the North Carolina-Virginia state line. It's one road in and one road out. Granted, the facilities at VIR are fantastic, but you don't have large grandstands, and also you don't have facilities for a big crowd. So the biggest factor why IndyCar probably won't race at VIR is its safety. Now, the track is a grade 2 from the FIA. So in theory, it could host IndyCar races, but these cars are fast. So a good way to break up the straightaways is have IndyCar race on the Grand East or Grand West circuits instead of the full circuit. That could slow the cars down on the long straightaway sections and also create new passing opportunities. Another factor is that the track needs to be upgraded. The track has to be widened, the walls have to be pushed back, and also adding sand traps. Another factor that IndyCar probably won't race at VIR is attendance. They're probably worried about not enough people showing up at this race, probably because it's in the heart of NASCAR country. If you notice over the years, the IndyCar racing series barely makes it east of the Appalachian Mountains. Look at a map right now where all the current tracks of the IndyCar racing series. Yes, they raced in Alabama and also St. Pete, Florida. That's it. They haven't been in this region in a long time. Now, IndyCar has been looking for tracks in this area to race at so they actually can compete against series like NASCAR. IndyCar almost came back to this region. In 2020, Richmond Raceway was on the schedule, but COVID had other plans. There's been talks of IndyCar coming back to Charlotte Motor Speedway, but only racing on the Roval.
Perfect world. Do you think it would be fun to run a Cup car and, say, an IndyCar in the same week and do a doubleheader? Would you be down for that?
If you're asking me personally, absolutely. I mean, I would love that opportunity one day. I think it'd be really cool for the fans, without a doubt. You know, why would you not want to have that doubled up on a weekend?
But I think VIR is probably the best track for IndyCar to come to. First off, it's not an oval. It's an historic race course. It's near major metropolitan areas like Richmond, Raleigh, and Charlotte. I think it's a perfect location to host an IndyCar race in the future. Yes, they have to make some significant upgrades, but the only way I think it would be okay for IndyCar to come to VIR if these safety upgrades do not affect the charm of the track. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Track History on Virginia International Raceway. Give this video a like and also subscribe to my channel if you want more videos like this. VIR is one of my favorite tracks in the Piedmont region. It gives me old school 70s Watkins Glen vibes. It's also a great track to camp at and bring your family. The amenities are really nice there. From the hotel to the villas to the infield area. It's a fantastic place to camp and watch some really cool racing. And it's easily one of my top favorite tracks in America. Feel free to comment below of what tracks you want me to cover in future episodes of Track History. I am still in the early stages of growing this channel and this series, so I have a lot more videos coming out soon. Feel free to follow me on my socials. Also, if you want to help this channel grow even faster, I have a Buy Me a Coffee link down below in the description. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.